Welcome to a little mini Randy Karraker show here on STL Sports Central. Matthew Rocchio, Randy Karraker. St. Louis Blues getting ready to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday night after the Blues on Thursday night turned in their best performance in a while. Matthew, when you look at the fact that they went to a shootout, they got a point out of it.
You know what? I know it's a loss because it is a loss. That's how we should count that.
Yeah.
But the team played better. I mean, that's just I know people. There's some fans who are going to hate hearing this stuff. I was watching the post-game show on Thursday evening, which Thomas and company did a great job here on STL Sports Central. And a lot of people were still just super mad that it was, technically the sixth time they walked away without taking both points in a game. Long term, let's be happy about the 1 point. That's realistic. But also short term, we can be happy about the 1 point. That's realistic. But long term, I mean, Snuggy looked great. Dvorsky looked great in his first game. Logan Mailloux had two bad penalties that were big mistakes, but you take away the penalties and you just talk about how he played, skating and defensing, being a defenseman and moving the puck. Logan Mailloux is improving game by game. It's not the level you want yet, but he is improving, and that's all you really want to see from him right now. So, yeah, despite the fact that it's a loss, you're not taking both points. Even I think the most jaded Blues fan has to be able to see some positivities out of Thursday night's game.
And I would think right off the top of my head, those three that you mentioned, Snuggerud, Mailloux, and Dvorsky, they probably played less than a combined 50 games total in the NHL. So when you have positive signs from those three, I think you have to take that as a positive. Now, we talked on Thursday about Oscar Sundqvist and how important he was. He has a couple of assists. We talked about Cam Fowler and how he had struggled in the early going. He has a couple of assists. Pius Suter with a goal and an assist. And at the beginning of the season, Jim Montgomery talked about how he needed the veterans to step up. These aren't exactly the veterans he was talking about to step up, but Fowler, Sonny, Suter, all veterans, all mid-level players, and they stepped up for the Blues in this game. Did the top of the list step up? No, not on the score sheet. Although Pavel Buchnevich, 4 shots, tied with Snuggerud for the Blues lead in shots. He played his, and it's amazing to say this, but he really did play his best game of the year. And so there were positives to be drawn. And this is going to be, and this is something that Ken Hitchcock always talked to us about. I learned so much hockey from Ken Hitchcock. But he always said, when you get into a rut like this, it's a process to get back to where you need to be. It doesn't happen overnight. It's you're climbing a mountain, and that's where the Blues are right now. And hopefully they took the first few steps towards climbing a mountain.
Randy, I'm going to need to do this really quick. We're going to take a quick tangent, and I need you to know, in the 4 major American sports, which coach has taught you the most about the game relative for each one?
For each sport?
Yes, basketball, football, hockey, and what's one I'm forgetting? Basketball, football, hockey, baseball, of course.
Okay, so in baseball, it was definitely Whitey, because the Cardinals really didn't have a manager like Whitey before he got here, and he was the first one I ever really had access to also. So I could sit and talk and listen to Whitey and learned a lot about the sport and the way the sport should be played from him. Football, it's Jim Hannifin. And Jim Hannifin was the first press conference I ever covered. And you'd think that it would be Vermeil. And Vermeil did teach me a lot. More life stuff, though, from DV. But in terms of just football, and especially the stuff you love, the offensive line, it was definitely Hanny. Because Hanny would, kind of like you love, Hanny would show me the intricacies of what needed to be done. And then working with Dan Deerdorf, who is a disciple of Jim Hannifin, I kind of learned what good offensive line play was from those guys. Hockey, I don't think there's any doubt that it was Hitch, because Hitch is a hockey savant. He said on the morning that he got hired, he said, I just see hockey different than other people, I think. And he does. He just sees hockey in a different way. But, man, he taught me so many little things about it. And then followed closely, by the way, by Bob Plager, who was only the coach for less than 10 games. And then basketball, I think it'd probably be Spoon, Charlie Spoonhour, because I did a show with him, and he knew how to build a basketball team regardless of the kind of talent that he had. It's the old Bum Phillips line about Don Shula. He'll take his'n and beat your'n. He'll take your'n and beat his'n. That's what Spoon would do. Spoon built a team and was adaptable to the talent that he had rather than having players try to play his particular game.
All right, I loved hearing that. I just had to get that tangent when you mentioned that about Hitch. So back to what you were saying, the unexpected veterans stepping up last night. Yes, Sonny was huge, and honestly, he didn't put up any numbers, but I really thought that third line was the most impressive line. Sonny, Suter, and Holloway. I thought that was the best line for the Blues the entire night. And me and Cam talked about this morning. This is what we talked about yesterday, and it really played out, which is, for the first time, it really seemed like there was balance for the Blues across all four lines, where there didn't seem to be a huge drop-off when any group of three players went out there. And I don't think that's been the case many other games.
No, that's 100% correct. And even though they had the balance, they still need their best players to be their best players, right? And I was glad to see Holloway break through last night, but a guy like Broberg is not playing particularly well so far this season. Too. Yeah, he needs to be better, and these guys all know that they have to be better. Braden Shen, and I think people, by the way, misconstrued. I want to clarify, when we talked about shooting a hostage yesterday, or not yesterday, but during the week, and people heard that and said, "You want to trade Braden Shen?" I said, "No." The concept of shooting a hostage is to move somebody that nobody would expect, to wake everybody up. No, he is their best, not their best player, but he's played the best this year. And so, no, I don't want to trade Braden Shen, but if you wanted to shoot a hostage, what would one would get the most reaction from the team and the fans, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You're not wrong.
But I think he needs to be better. And then obviously Kyrou, I'm not going to dog on Jordan Kyrou because he's off to a really good start, but it sure would be nice to have number 18 back too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And the update from Jim from Montgomery today, still banged up. He thinks that there's a good chance we don't see Robert Thomas this next game as well. I also saw this note from Lou Korak that I wanted to get up here because I thought this was interesting. Let me put it up there for Randy. Jim Montgomery really has been barking at certain points at players during certain drills today. A D-zone drill in one, a 6-on-5 drill in another. About as animated as I've seen him. That's not shocking. It really looks like he's on his last leg.
I don't blame him for being pissed, right?
Yeah,
especially Matthew, because he had essentially the same group of players play hard for him last year down the stretch and in the playoffs. And he's got to be wondering, what the heck? I was able to kind of maximize these guys last year after the Four Nations and then in the playoffs. He's got to be wondering, and he's basically said it, what the hell's going on here, to quote Vince Lombardi.
Yes, exactly. That's my big thing, is we need to be quoting Vince Lombardi when it comes to these Blues a little bit more. Last thing here, Dalibor Dvorsky, we already mentioned him. He had a good game. Shot goes off the post in that last minute, but I mean, we've talked a lot about having pure scorers on this Blues roster. It's something they've missed the last few years, but man, watching Snuggie put one of his in the back of the net and watching some of those attempts from Dalibor Dvorsky, they have drafted some absolute potential snipers the last couple of years.
They really do have some talent. I got to tell you, if he's wearing number 9 or 15, that goes into the net.
I'm with you 100%. I don't know why I'm fighting it. Jersey karma's real. Hockey's just such a weird one because, like, we've seen players be good as like number 67 and stuff like that. It's inexplicable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't know why it happens this way. Yeah, but Dvorsky, a couple of shots, 16 minutes and 36 seconds, and he will just ascend. And I don't think that he could be playing for a better coach to ascend than Jim Montgomery. And I don't know if there's people down on Jim Montgomery. I hope you aren't. But these young players, if they apply themselves and if they listen to what the coach is saying, if they do that, then they're going to have really good careers because of the guy they're playing for.
18 shots against Jordan Binnington. He allows 3 goals. That is still probably the one big negative when we're looking at the Blues. This one, though, I think this is the first Binnington start where I'd have to say I'm not putting it all in the defense. That the couple of those ones are on Jordan Binnington. He's got to be a little bit better than he was last night. Bottom line.
I agree with that, but he will turn it around. I would bet on that. In fact, I would bet with DraftKings Sportsbook on the Blues being in the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday night. And NFL fans, what a great weekend. You've got the game of the year maybe with Kansas City and Buffalo. What's your favorite touchdown? Is it the next one? With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown scores in a game to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And we mentioned the game of the year, but you've got some other really fun games coming up this weekend. You have, for example, the Colts and the Steelers. Colts have been great so far. Are they real, or are the Steelers going to bounce back, especially because now there's a little desperation after the Ravens win? And you've got the Broncos and Texans. Put a shilling or two on that Texans defense to do something. They have allowed the fewest points in the NFL. So here's what you need to do. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and look up NFL, and then find what you need to find that is your favorite bet. The best part is new customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Matthew, hopefully the turn to a new month will help the Blues and cause them to have a brighter future in November. A 4-game week coming up, by the way, at home against Edmonton on Monday, then at Washington and at Buffalo on Wednesday and Thursday. Then next weekend, next Saturday, November 8th, the Seattle Kraken come to St. Louis. So the schedule does not get easy for the Blues. They've already had the easy part of their schedule. Now they need to play to the level of their competition, play up a level so that they can get things going. Edmonton, we know, is good. Washington is off to a decent start. You think Buffalo and Seattle are not much, but everybody has been a threat for the Blues so far. So they need to get it going, and November hopefully will be their month.
I told you yesterday, I'm circling it now. 9-12-1. That is what they were 22 games under Drew Bannister. Get above that line, and I won't be freaking out completely.
All right.
So they got some work to do to not get there. That's for sure.
Yeah, they sure do. They got a lot of work to do. That's Matthew Rocchio. I'm Randy Karraker. Thanks for joining us here on STL Sports Central, where the crown is yours. We got a lot to talk about coming up. We're going to talk some college football that you'll be able to find here at STL Sports Central. We'll preview the NFL for you here on STL Sports Central. All kinds of great programming. Bernie Miklasz. Don't forget to check out our interview with Jim Thomas and our interview with Matt Adams. A lot here for you to consume here at STL Sports Central. We'll see you next time.